Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eleanor and today I want to talk about The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This review will contain some spoilers, so be warned if you've not read the book, and if you're still wanting to read it, I wouldn't watch this video just now. I'm going to try and not give too many spoilers away. I'm just not used to reviewing books that are so recently published. I normally read backlisted books, so I'm just really aware of the fact that this book's only been out for like 2 months, so proceed with caution. This book caused a lot of conflict, I should say, when it was first announced. People were really excited about the idea of a Hunger Games prequel because the trilogy was so well received. It was a fantastic book series and it was adapted to film really well, and it was just fantastic, and it took the world by storm and was much loved. Myself included, loved this trilogy originally. So I was very excited to hear that it was going to be a Hunger Games prequel. However, when it was announced that it was going to be about President Snow when he was in his youth, I was quite hesitant. I was scared about getting a book that was trying to make us sympathetic towards him and was going to be trying to change our feelings about how we feel about the President Snow in the present day trilogy of the Hunger Games. So I was hesitant. But I did want to read it because it's a prequel of a series I very much love. So I got the book. Actually, my boyfriend bought it for me, so I'm very lucky, because I don't normally buy such brand new releases, and especially in hardback, so very lucky for him to buy that for me. Right. Sorry for that wee interruption. I just had to help a delivery driver carry a bicycle up 2 flights of stairs because my sister has bought a mountain bike and I had to carry it, obviously. So from where I was leaving off, this book just wasn't what I was expecting, and reading other reviews, it just wasn't what people were hoping for either in a prequel. It took me 6 weeks to read this, and for one thing that's because it's a hardback and I don't take hardbacks into work with me because they take up too much space and they're too annoying, so I was only really reading this at home, but I just couldn't find it in myself to motivate me to read it. It's a very slow start. You're following, I keep calling him President Snow, but his name is like, how do you say it? Corlonius? That's probably not it. Corlonius, and when he's at the academy and he's a student, and it's just a very slow start. He gets selected because he's one of the best in his year to take part in the first mentor program in the 10th Hunger Games. It's very near the beginning of the Hunger Games being introduced into Panem, and he's chosen as one of the first 24 mentors, and he gets allocated District 12, which is a slight to him because he is actually one of the best students at the academy. There's lots of underhand politics and manipulations going on with the head of the academy, that Dean Highborn or something like that, and Corlonius and his family are actually like really poor and really struggling after the war. So he's trying to hide all this, and he's always just about, oh, Snow's coming out on top, he wants to be president, he wants to do the best and be the best. Now, what I was expecting from this book was for Corlonius, Snow, that's a pain to say, was expecting Snow to be kind of nice. I was expecting for Suzanne Collins to want to make us sympathise and empathise with him, and it to be like this slow transition into him becoming who we see as President Snow in the original Hunger Games trilogy. But in my opinion, that doesn't really happen. Snow's not a nice character from the get-go. He puts on a nice front. He appears to help people and appears to be quite selfless and giving to those around him, but it's all really selfish. He's manipulating everyone around him from the get-go. He is looking for every advantage he can find to one-up other people, and he's looking to incur favours from people so that he can come out on top. So I think from the very get-go, he's just not a nice character. I didn't like him, and I just didn't find him that interesting. The few main characters that you come across in this is him and his pal. I was calling him Senjin in my head because I didn't know how to pronounce it, who kind of is a rebel sympathiser because he was originally from District 2 but then moved to the capital, and he doesn't like the capital at all, and he is really against the Hunger Games even though he's now a mentor too. So they're like the main people you meet, along with Snow's tribute. He's mentoring Lucy Gray from District 12. Of course it would be District 12. I mean, why wouldn't it be the same district that Katniss was from in the original Hunger Games. I think it would have been more interesting if we were more closely aligned to a different district so we could get a different perspective. But no, District 12 again. And then you get this Lucy Gray who can charm snakes and is a really good singer and is part of a band and is this amazing, but she's crazy and unstable and she kills people. And it just seems a bit of a mess and it doesn't seem like there's much point. And then it was just such a slow beginning. So many tributes died before even the Hunger Games began. And then you get into the Hunger Games and you're not even following anyone who's actually in the games. You're following Snow and the other mentors while they're sitting watching the Hunger Games on TV. So you're getting like a third-hand perspective of the Hunger Games. And I was like, this was the bit I was waiting for in this book to make it more exciting and more engaging if we were going to be in the arena with tributes again. But we weren't. We were watching it on a TV screen and half the time you didn't know when you knew the tributes were and it was all just a bit meaningless. Snow makes a few mistakes. He's trying to help people out to one-up himself. He makes a few mistakes and he gets chucked out of the academy. And he's like, oh, I'll go be a peacekeeper in District 12 so I can be with my love because him and Lucy Gray fell in love. That seems really random. Why would Lucy fall in love with her mentor when he's part of the problem of the capital? Which is a very hollow and empty relationship. And I don't really see where it came into this. Like, it had no relevance. Unless the whole idea that, speculating forward for the original Hunger Games trilogy, maybe Suzanne Collins was thinking that if we think that the reason why Snow doesn't like Katniss from District 12 is because he's remembering his love of Lucy Gray from District 12. And I just, like, she was trying to draw too many parallels between this prequel and the normal Hunger Games when there's like a 60-year gap between, 65-year gap between them. And it didn't need to be that big a correlation. I just would have liked it if it was just more about how the Hunger Games started and what the initial thing was, because at the end of the day, got to the end of the book, the last 60 pages, suddenly Lucy Gray sees Snow for who he is and tries to kill him, and then Snow maybe kills her, but you don't know, and then everything's hunky-dory and he gets back to the capital and he's back at the university and he's doing great, and it's like this whole book never happened. They erased that 10th Hunger Games footage, no one will ever see it again, and they move forward and Snow's back on top, back at the capital, back where he belongs, like, and he's suddenly got money and he's doing well and you can see his projection up to the presidential status in the end anyway. And it's just like, what was the point in this? This didn't achieve anything. I didn't sympathise with him. I didn't see a great character arc. I didn't see anything about what Suzanne Collins was maybe trying to achieve. I don't know, I just felt like it was a bit pointless. It's a really long book as well. It's like just over 500 pages. And I think at least 250 of those pages didn't need to be there with what was actually said. It was just a really, really slow book. And only the last 50, 60 pages had any real impact and drama to it. But again, the ending just felt rushed. And yeah, I have nothing else to say. It was just a bit pointless. Some of it was a bit ridiculous, like Lucy Gray being able to charm the snakes to do her bidding and for them not to bite her, and she suddenly has this magical singing voice and everyone loves her. And yeah, I don't have much more to say with this. I was just really, really disappointed. I really would have loved a prequel book focusing more on maybe the war, or like the introduction of the first Hunger Games and as a result of the war, or maybe following District 13 and finding out about how they're building the rebellion, or even about one of the original characters, like their first Hunger Games, like maybe we're following Finnick or Maggie or anything like that, following their Hunger Games that you hear snippets of. I just think that would have been more interesting of a story to tell, because at the end of the day, we didn't learn anything new about Snow, and we didn't really learn anything new about Panem at all. The capital was still the capital, and you only really learned more about District 12, which you didn't really learn anything about them either. So overall, I was really disappointed. And if you really loved the original Hunger Games, I wouldn't bother reading this. And I'm a bit wary. I feel like maybe Suzanne Collins might write another prequel, like a sequel to this, another prequel. And I don't know if I'll read it. It depends what character it's following. Will make me decide about whether I want to read it or not. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on this book, and I'm just sad and disappointed that I didn't like it as much as some people did, because some people have loved it. But for me, I think I was just expecting too much from one of my favourite childhood stories. I was expecting too much, and that left me very disappointed. I'm going to leave a couple of links down below. Some of my other favourite YouTubers have done more in-depth analysis reviews on the Hunger Games, and I'll leave them linked below because some of them have a better way with words than I do, and I just had a great laugh watching their videos, so I'll leave them linked below. Let me know if you've read this, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and what you thought about it. Maybe you loved it. Tell me why you loved it. I would love to have a chat with you. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.